Welcome to the Nursing 575 course for the fall of 2018. This is Professor Barber, and I wanted to take some time to just familiarize you with the syllabus and Canvas a little bit. So let's start with the course calendar here that you see on the page. This basically just lists out every single week what times to be where, what's going to generally be happening each day. So this is a much easier schedule to look at than the one that's in the syllabus, so I always do this. It's also published in Canvas for you. It just makes it a lot faster. I do want to note one thing, that on the 26th of September, when we have exam 2, we will be starting much earlier and we will be getting out a little earlier. We're only taking a half-hour break that day. I have a conference out of town, so I need to leave early. So I thought we would just start earlier and get done earlier. Other than that, this is just a quick and easy way to see the course calendar. Next, I want to show you the syllabus, standard APU nursing syllabus. But I'm going to go not page by page, but just hit some highlights for you. On this page, you're going to find like when the course meets, what days you have clinical, all that stuff, where we're having clinical, so forth. Information on me, information on the 2 clinical instructors. You sure already know who your clinical instructor is. They will be getting pagers. I don't have those pager numbers yet, but you will be expected to use their pagers, not their cell phones, and not your cell phone, but the hospital landlines to contact them at clinical. The course description is what you see already. You'll see on Canvas, but also this table of relationships. These are basically what your expected learning outcomes are for this course and for the master's level program. So I would recommend that you do read through them and know what they are for this course specifically, but for the whole program. The required texts will be the same ones that we used last semester. We're not making a change until spring, so you will be able to use, if somebody has a used one you want, you can use that. Otherwise, these are the texts that you'll want to buy. Additionally, you need to have that APA manual handy because you'll need it for citing references. And then I recommend the maternal newborn nursing success NCLEX review questions as well, just as another source of ways to practice the material as you go through the course. Okay, this is the calendar that's very hard to read. It's very overwhelming because there's so much to it. So just generally, the first thing that comes up each week is the didactic class. Even though you have clinical before didactic, this is just the way it's formatted. So the topics we're covering each week are in this first column, what you're expected to do before the class begins. This course is all set up on a team-based learning framework, and so it's expected that you come to class already having read and studied the PowerPoints and familiarizing yourself with the information. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the first clinical day too, but you need to come prepared because every week, including week 1, as you can see right here, there's a team quiz. So it is imperative that you come prepared every week because there is either going to be a quiz or an exam every single week. This is all the readings, and then on Canvas you'll see what's in the module when we get there. Post-class review, these are just some summary kind of content that you can read through in Saunders and in Kaplan, and then practicing questions. I strongly, highly recommend that you do practice questions every single week. You will do better on the exams, just generally in nursing school, but on these exams, particularly if you practice test questions. I don't do a lot of basic knowledge questions. I do more application and analysis, so you need to be able to work at that higher level when you're answering questions, and practicing these questions will really help you in these 2 books. The next section each week is going to be clinical, whatever that is for the week. So on this particular week, it's actually an orientation day on site. Let's just scroll down. The next week it's a skills day on site, and that week on the 4th you are going to have your medical math test for OB specifically. just like you have a special PEDS test, you're going to have a OB math test, which we'll talk about on that first clinical day when we orient. But let me show you a week where it's not. Oh, here. So this week, week 4, on the 18th of September, this is just your standard clinical day here at the top. What you normally will be doing, what your times are, locations. Then the second part of that week, you're actually having a simulation. So this is who's running the sim, along with the sim coordinator. The times are wrong. Okay, I need to fix that. Good thing I checked it. So we're going to be doing staggered times. You'll understand when you see the schedule. I have the schedule already done for this first simulation, so I'll be giving that to you on the day we do orientation, but I will correct them here because that's not the correct times. We'll actually be starting, I believe, at 8 o'clock and finishing by 3:30, and everyone will be coming in 2-hour blocks of time, and they're already pre-scheduled. So that's how this calendar works. So this is where your readings are, but there's also a place in Canvas where you can get all the readings, all the topics, all of that. So you don't have to use this only, but it's a good source. It's just very overwhelming to read. So I'm just going to scroll down now to this section. This is all the assignments for the class. So here's your medication math test. You're going to have some clinical evaluations, performance evaluations. We'll talk about those when we do orientation. Nursing care maps, you're going to have 2, completely different than what you've been doing. So don't panic. This is not one of those huge care maps or care plans. Very different. You're going to have homework every single week to turn in at the beginning of class, including week 1. So make sure you look ahead and be prepared for that and bring it to class that day. And then you're going to get just a point for every week for participation in class and then bringing your homework in and turning it in. If you don't turn it in at the beginning of class, you get no points for that day. So I recommend you be on time and turn it in. There's a video reflection at the end of the course that you're going to be doing. That's where your APA formatting and stuff comes in. You're going to need to use that for that. There are the Kaplan practice tests and also the integrated exam that you're going to be required to do. We'll talk more about that later. The quizzes that we do are team quizzes. So you will have 4 team quizzes over the length of the course. And then you're going to have 3 individual exams. So, and each of the exams is only going to be 30 questions. The team quizzes are 10 questions each. And then you're going to have a final exam that's 50 points, and that is going to be a team exam as well. And let's keep going here. This just breaks down how the points are allotted. For Kaplan, because this test is not currently normed, we are going by 60%, not the 60th percentile. So 60%, this one is what we base our scoring on, which is better for the OB class because their scores have not turned out well because the test has been corrupted and it's not accurate anymore. So they have a new test that we're using that has not yet been normed. This is the grading scale, same as in every ELM course, nothing different. Course policies, this is all standard APU information. It's nothing different and unique here for this course. If there is, I will point it out, but so far nothing. Canvas, there's information here on Canvas. I'm going to give you a little bit more in just a minute. How to go about submitting your assignments in Canvas. Okay, then we get to section N here, the skills lab days. So you're going to be attending 2 different days on site. One is an orientation day and one is a skills lab day. The first day is that orientation, and you'll get a schedule for that when I send out an email on this email that you're getting that links you to this. There's no makeup for these, so it is imperative that you attend both of these, and the following week when you go to the facility, it is imperative that you attend that. If you miss these things, you will not be able to continue in the course because what the content is there cannot be replicated for one student. So please understand that you need to be well and be prepared to come to those 3 dates. It's also not easy to make up clinical time for a regular hospital day. You get so few. I would strongly recommend you make sure that you are well and able to attend clinical. And if you are sick, you absolutely need to stay home. We have a very high risk population here, immunosuppressed. When you're talking about newborns, they're at high risk for infection. Moms also, so we need to be very, very cautious, and you will not be permitted to come into clinical settings sick. No fever, cough, cold, any of that, diarrhea. You will need to stay home. Okay, so this is the readings and so forth you're going to be doing to prepare for orientation and the skills lab days, and then information about medical math test. Basically, it's the same kind of questions that you've been asked on math before, all the same types of calculations, and I'm referring you back to your pharmacology book for the how to do the calculations, how to do the conversions and so forth. And then don't forget, you have a skills checklist booklet that you should be getting signed off by the faculty each course. I don't know if you're doing that. And then this is just a list of all the skills that we'll be covering on the skills day. Just, you can read through them. And then simulations, this is information on simulation, but there's also going to be some Canvas modules about the simulation. Tells you for each of the 2 simulations what we'll be doing, and then what's expected after each simulation as well, prior to and after. And then this is just a list of the appendices that are attached, but these are all also in Canvas, so you can take them from either place. Please note that there's this memorandum of understanding signature page. That's first appendix here. I expect you to read this and understand it, and then sign it and turn it in on the first day of didactic class. It's just a contract between you and I about being a student in this course and what's expected of you and what you can expect of me. Okay, so that's all I'm going to go over on the syllabus for now. Let me now go to, so for Canvas, what I would recommend is that you're not getting any official training as students. So go to this website, gocanvas.apu.edu, and this is the home page. And you'll see down here it says student resources. Click on that. And the 2 that I would most recommend are A Little Canvas 101, and then one other one, the Canvas Overview for Students. I think those are the 2 that will probably help you the most, but there's a lot of other things here if you need to. They're very brief videos, but they'll help you kind of get the idea of how Canvas operates. I'm going to show you Canvas. This is not the published course yet, so there may be some changes still to it a little bit, but generally this is what the course is going to look like when you get into Canvas. This is the student view. So this is the home page that you're going to come to. It has the course name. It has the course description. That's all there is on this page, nothing more. There will, if there are calendar events, they'll show up here in the list, but at this point there's no calendar events. But while we're talking about that, let me just go to calendar for just a second so you can see what it looks like. I've added just a couple things so far, but there will be more that populate once I publish the course for you. So I added simulation in here, and I added the Kaplan practice tests. I just put a recommended time frame to do them in. You do need to have them all completed by week 7, the 3 of them. There are 3. Or by the final, I'm sorry. You need to have them completed by the final. So I've staged them for week 5, 6, and 7, just as a reminder. There's no hard and fast time frame. I just want to keep you on track doing those things. So that's just an example of what the calendar is going to look like. Let me go back to the home screen here again. Oops. Okay, here we are. Okay, next is the syllabus tab. So when you go to the syllabus tab, you're basically going to have the syllabus. So you can either click the highlighted bar, or you can click this little document thing here. If you click the document, I like this. It opens it up right there on the page for you to look at. So you can scroll through and find what you're looking for quickly. But I recommend that you do at least once download and print the whole entire syllabus so you have it for yourself, hard copy also. Then the course calendar, the one I showed you at the very beginning, is also here, so that you can have it handy if you want that view. I find that one way easier to do. And then I also linked the course memorandum of understanding here as well, so that you could find it easily and print it and make sure you get it signed. This course summer just goes through all the assignments that are going to be due, just so you know. But you don't access them through this location, it's just listing them for you. Okay, grades. Gradebook works differently than it did in Sakai, but this is what your view will look like. If there's no score yet, then you get nothing in there. And it doesn't give you a total points at the end until there's scoring going on. So this is kind of how it looks until there are scores starting to be entered. The other thing that's kind of cool with this one that you couldn't do on Sakai so easily is that you can do what if scores, so that you can kind of figure out your grades yourself. I don't know how to tell you how to do that because I haven't practiced that part yet, but just know that that's there. And I'm sure that if you go to one of those student guides in the student resources on the Canvas site, the Go Canvas, it'll explain to you how to practice that and try that out. Okay, the next section and the only other tab that you're going to have is modules. Now, this is not what it's going to look like when you first open it. All you're going to see is this one right here, because this is your starting place. You're going to start here, and when you go through what's in this one, once you complete it, there are certain things in there you're required to complete. Once you do, you're going to mark, or it's going to let us know that you've completed it by marking all done. And then once it does, then it's going to allow you to access the next modules. So that'll be the clinical orientation skills module and week 1 module are the two that you'll have access to at that point. Each week you have to complete certain things in order to move to the next week, because there's homework and so forth that has to be done in order for you to move to the following module. And that's intentional, because there's a lot of content, and if you start moving ahead too quickly, you're going to get so confused and you're going to be so overwhelmed that if you just stick to the plan and how it's set up, it will help you process through the course in a very logical, methodical way without overwhelming you with so much information all at one time. So you're going to have to go through the modules that way. Anyway, and there are 8 modules, plus there are simulation modules that have everything for the simulation, what you need to do to prepare before, a worksheet that you're going to do and turn in on the day of simulation before we start simulation, and then after simulation there's a debrief form that is super simple and takes less than 5 minutes to complete, because we talk about it in the debrief. You're just documenting and submitting it so that we have record of what we talked about in debrief. I think that is the main thing to show you here really in Canvas. It's actually very user-friendly and easy on the student side. So I think you're going to like it a lot compared to Sakai. Anyway, I hope that helps you. I will be seeing you in just about a week. I'm very excited. I hope you are too. Start getting ready. There's a lot to study and be preparing for the orientation day and the first didactic class day. So I'm just giving you a heads up, and I'm going to get this out to you as quickly as I can, because I know you have lots to do over the next several days. So I will see you all very soon.